I'd love to introduce you all to Sarah. Sarah is a product design manager and pillar lead at Asana. Before this, she was a design leader at companies like PlanGrid, Eventbrite, and SoundCloud. She's also alum of our Bridge program, and she turns into a DJ by night. So check out some of her beats. Please join me in welcoming her up to the stage. Come on, Sarah.
Thanks. Good to see everyone and happy to be here. Let's get started. Wow moments, delight, sparkle, whatever you want to call it. I'm really inspired by these standout moments in product design. These are moments where we get to surprise and delight our customers, amplify meaningful actions and emotions, and make our app memorable and engaging. These can be micro interactions or full screen takeovers, and these ones are some of my favorites. As a designer who's worked for companies including SoundCloud, Eventbrite, PlanGrid, and now Asana, over the years I've learned that it's really awesome to be able to delight our customers with moments like this, but it's also pretty challenging to prioritize, especially when we have deadlines and limited resources. Oftentimes, delight is the first thing to get cut. But the impact of these moments shouldn't be underestimated. Delight can be a key differentiator for your company's brand and ultimately make you a lot of money. So today, I'm here to talk about how we made the case for delight in a recent product launch at Asana, about the value that delight can provide to our users and the business, and to share some learnings around metrics that can help measure that impact. But before we get started, I want to introduce my team. This is the design team at Asana. We're 23 designers and growing fast, and I'm a pillar design lead based in SF, but I also work really closely with the New York office, which brings me out here pretty often. So, on to the situation. Asana is a work productivity tool where teams can collaborate, track work, and measure progress. And in the second half of last year, we identified a key pain point for customers. In Asana's list view, they could look at all of their tasks, but sometimes a list of tasks could get really long, and it wasn't easy at a glance to tell which was more important than others. This problem was crucial for a user profile we call the shipper, and that person is usually a project lead or a manager, and they're responsible for coordination and prioritization. Also, twice a year at Asana, we compile insights from sales, customer support, marketing, research, and success teams, and we create a top 10 list of customer needs. We use this as a key input for product planning and to help inform what we're going to build next. And insights from our last top 10 echoed what we were hearing in user research, which is that shippers need better ways to track their team's progress, that they need easier ways to communicate this progress with stakeholders, and that they need to understand the health of their projects and take action when things are behind schedule. There were some opportunities for the business as well. One of our key needs there was to drive positive sentiment among premium customers. So we had a multi-feature launch planned in February for business and enterprise users, and there was a hard deadline for this release. So we knew we needed to deliver something of value to premium users before that. And for this premium tier release, we had a bunch of goals. We wanted to build a feature to help shippers prioritize work and track progress for their projects. And our launch goal was that 25% of active premium domains use milestones 3 times in the first month. We also wanted to increase collaboration, which is an internal metric at Asana for measuring customer benefit. It's calculated by any action that has an effect on another user at Asana. And it was most important that we boost user sentiment for premium users. But with the February launch date set in stone, there was a time crunch, so time to get designing. Our approach to all of this started with a collaboration between the lead designer on the project, the PM, and our user researcher to better understand the opportunity. And through research, we learned that most large-scale collaborative projects have multiple points in time that mark a critical task that has a specific deadline, the end of a phase of work, an important event or deliverable, or reaching a project goal. And all of these moments are milestones. And they're also emotional moments. They can come They can come right after a lot of hustle or frustration or even hard work. And completing a milestone is a time of celebration and success for the whole team. Traditional project management software can be boring. And even though a lot of our competitors already had the concept of milestones to mark major deadlines, they were doing it in a pretty dry and rigid way. And Asana's designers knew that we could do better. And that by humanizing our software, we can make it stand out from the pack and make countless workspaces a lot less boring. So designers on my team realized that there was a chance for delight here, and in highlighting the moment that milestones get completed. And in this moment of completion, we saw the opportunity to help motivate everyone on the team by allowing them to celebrate this big achievement, to recognize accomplishment, and to also make contributors aware of how their actions fit into the larger objectives. So this was a natural place for adding delight. And it also felt pretty aligned with who we are at Asana, which is empowering, purposeful, quirky, and approachable. These are our brand attributes. And they all ladder up to collaboration, to getting work done with teams, and to having fun while they do it. We believe that our customers should love using Asana, and that when they feel empowered and delighted, that will increase usage and loyalty. And one of the ways that we were already creating delight in the product was something that we fondly call celebrations. And when someone completes a bunch of tasks or when they empty their inbox, a celebration character like this unicorn flies across their screen. And our celebrations get a lot of love on Twitter, a lot of love. For some people, seeing these after a completing task is like one of the biggest motivators of their entire day. And our celebration characters have also gone on the road with us in physical form as stuffed animals and stickers. And the love shows up really consistently in our NPS comments too. Lots of more unicorns, please. So our pitch here was that we could create a special Asana celebration for the completion of a milestone, that we already knew the impact these could have on our brand and the business. So in this case, presenting the right idea at the right time is what we needed to make the case to prioritize it. So we were going to release the MVP in less than a month at this point, so it was time to get scrappy. And product designers got together and started sketching with our talented illustrators on brand design. And here are some of the things we tried out. So first we had a Yeti with sunglasses that appears when you complete a milestone. Or we could have a unicorn that whips its head around and winks at you and then bursts into confetti. Or just colorful confetti that explodes across your screen. But because we were so tight on time at this point, we ultimately chose the scrappiest solution we could come up with and paired with engineering to make it come to life. And after final polish and bug fixes on the feature overall, it was time to launch milestones. And here were the final designs. So people can now add milestones to a project, and it stands out in a list of tasks. Teams can visualize milestones in their timeline and see them on a calendar. And everyone can understand their progress in a project. And when someone completes a milestone, we have a custom celebration, which is a Yeti waving a celebratory flag and riding a unicorn. And this is what it looks like in action. And here is a pic of the Milestones team on launch day sporting our Milestones Day sunglasses and hand signs, whatever those are, yeah. And overall, Milestones was a huge success, but how do we know? So first, Asana's annual recurring revenue, or ARR, is growing strong. And we recently crossed the 100 million ARR threshold after 8 consecutive quarters of accelerating growth. Woo! Thank you. And while product launches play a very important role in ARR, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly how this mapped to ARR, but there are some specific metrics that we care about most after launching new product features. And with milestones, those were engagement, collaboration, positive user sentiment, and growth in brand awareness, sentiment, and overall perception over time. So for engagement, 47% of active premium domains were using milestones. We blew our launch goal of 25% out of the water by nearly 2x. And this was a really huge success for the team at Asana, and we were really excited about this. The second metric we looked at was collaboration for premium users. And after releasing milestones, collaboration has continued to grow at a really healthy pace. And to measure positive customer sentiment for premium users, we monitored the number of red versus green tickets that were received by our user operations team. They're basically our main point of contact for customers. And we had nearly 100 tickets about milestones in the first month, and not a single ticket was red, which is basically 100% success for our customer sentiment KR. And we also measured sentiment by checking in on social after the launch. We looked at tweets and blog comments, and our users were really excited about using milestones. And lastly, brand perception. This one's pretty interesting. So because you can't measure brand impact in a short period of time, it's something that you need to look and think about the value of something like celebrations as a long-term endeavor. So in order to measure this, we look at things like NPS, but we also measure brand sentiment reports using a tool called Meltwater. And it scans headlines of articles and words surrounding any mentions of Asana. And these were our reports from Q1 after the milestones release, where brand sentiment was quite positive. And the launch of milestones was a huge success, and we've already started to iterate on it. But most importantly, we proved throughout this process that delight is worth making the case for, and that it can play a big role in helping to differentiate your company's brand. But to wrap everything up, I just wanted to share a checklist summarizing some of my overall findings around designing for delight. So first, as designers, we should always start with solving a customer problem. And it's only after this point in the design process that adding delight makes sense. And delight can't be forced, it needs to evolve organically. So then identify the biggest emotional moments in the customer journey to find opportunities for meaningful moments to amplify. And while it's awesome to delight users, remember to use it sparingly in your product. Don't overdo delight, because then it risks losing its value. Also, delight should be earned by our users. So sometimes, in the case of the example that I showed you, sometimes celebrations don't get triggered. But when they do, the result is even more surprise and joy. And in terms of metrics, it's worth investing in delight to differentiate your brand long term. A differentiated brand equals customer love, and this equals money. And the impact of delight can be measured. Be sure to measure both short-term and long-term impact. And if there's one thing I'd encourage you all to go out and do today, it's to set up one-on-ones with people in your company in other departments. Things like marketing, finance, product management, user operations, data science, et cetera, to find out the ways that they're measuring success. I basically did that in preparation for this talk and found out and learned way more than could fit on these slides, but it was a really great experience. And there are things that we can measure, and I feel like that supports our influence as designers to know what those things are and to be able to map them back to the designs that we do, so we should. That's basically all I have. Thank you, New York. If you want to talk about any of this after, please come and chat. I'd love to chat about this. Introduce yourself or send me an email. And I also brought some celebration stickers that are on each of your tables around here. So take one and enjoy.